At a time already high stress, last night's debate had people's heart rate climbing as monitored by phones and machines. The founding editor of the New York Times Well section tweeted that she may need to meditate. The Grammy Award-winning songwriter said, "Cannot be good for my health." Meanwhile, the election anxiety has been building for months. In February, 47% of US workers said 2020 is race is distracting from the job, according to a survey by Gartner. Adam Grant's with me, the organisational psychologist, author and professor at Wharton. He joins me from Philadelphia. Well, sir, help me, please. I mean, everybody has this anxiety, shock, whatever, as a result of last night. We need some help.
Yeah, I wish I could, Richard. I would say the first thing is nobody's talking about the fact that the defining experience of 2020 is a feeling of helplessness, right? This pandemic has given us a tremendous sense of a loss of control. And now we have to watch this debate where we realize that even people in power are powerless to do anything about the way the world is unfolding. And I think that's been extremely stressful for all of us over the past day.
And as we watched it, what would you recommend? What would you suggest to those who sort of want to know what you actually do when I mean, do you not watch it? Do you watch it with the volume down? Do you sort of meditate? What do you think?
I don't know that there are any easy answers, but I would say suppressing your emotions doesn't work. We know that. They tend to boomerang. It's also not that helpful to just vent. What works much better is either to distract yourself, or if you still want to be an informed citizen, to actually label your emotions. So one of the things that we find in psychology is that if you can just name the feeling that you have, whether it's shock or anxiety or disgust, it actually helps you distance yourself from it a little bit and then analyze it. And it doesn't give you total power over what you're feeling, but at least you regain some sense of control.
That's a very good idea. That's a very clever idea. So one should just sort of acknowledge it and name it. I wonder about the long-term implications, not just about last night's debate and our psyche, but, you know, months of pandemic. I'm still sitting in my living room, even though I've got a different background for today. We're all worried about our jobs. We're all worried about health. We can't see light at the end of the tunnel at the moment. How unusual is this?
Oh, I think it's become the norm rather than the exception. And we know in general when people face adversity, one of the things they do is they tend to project it out indefinitely. It feels like for many of us, we're never going to be calm again, or we're going to struggle to find joy at any point in the future. And one of the best pieces of advice that I got on this was I host a TED podcast, Work Life, and I called up Scott Kelly, the astronaut who set the American record for spending 340 days in space. And Scott said, look, that was a long time to live on a space station. And so when I left Earth, I actually had a goal to come back with the same energy and enthusiasm that I had when I left. And I think that's something we could all do, right? The starting point is to talk with your family, with your colleagues about how you want to feel in the first week this pandemic is over. And that has a few effects. One is that it makes the future feel a little uncertain. Two, it can speed up your sense of time. And then three, you can work backward and say, okay, what do we all need to do day by day in order to land at that place of energy and enthusiasm that we hope we can reach next year?
Do you foresee long-term psychological depression? I mean, I know we've already seen suicide numbers have risen. We've seen people, but do you think there's potential long-term psychological damage as a result of what people have been through this year?
I think it can go both ways, Richard. So yes, I think there will be some people who experience post-traumatic stress disorder, but there's also a case to be made that some people will experience post-traumatic growth. This sense that I'm not just going to bounce back, but I could actually bounce forward. And this is something psychologists find over and over again when people go through tragedy or trauma. They often come away with a deeper sense of gratitude, right? I've never felt grateful before to eat in a restaurant. I'm definitely going to feel that when the pandemic is over. People end up appreciating their jobs in ways that they didn't in the past. And they also often come away with deeper relationships and a greater sense of personal strength. Like, I got through that, I can get through almost anything.
Right, finally, name for me, please, the emotions, because you said to name your emotions. Name for me the emotions or feelings that you had as you watched last night.
Oh gosh, I think I started with a sense of duty, and then I quickly went to shock, disgust, contempt, sadness, grief, depression, and eventually I landed at, okay, I have to be ready to talk about this tomorrow, so I'm going to keep watching, which was, I guess, a sense of just solemn resignation. And Richard, the thing that I think I would say is, look, we're all feeling helpless right now about the state of the world, maybe the state of our country. And the best antidote to helplessness is actually helpfulness, right? So let's find people who are struggling, maybe even just reaching out to somebody we know well and care about and asking them, what's your biggest challenge? Or is there anything I can do to be of support to you? And it's, one, a great distraction from all the macro problems in the world. And two, it could actually restore our sense that there are places where we can make a difference.
Sir, so glad that we had you to talk to us tonight. I appreciate it. Thank you. Adam Grant joining us with the emotions that I'm sure many of us felt. Thank you.